Real Country 1430 AM and 107.3 FM WRDN. Brian Winnikins at World Dairy Expo, and thank you to our Expo sponsors, including Ashley Gaussman, our BASF representative serving Northwest Wisconsin, Osteoplastic, also Andy Grebner, our Credenz Seeds representative in Northwest Wisconsin, Animal Wellness Center of Buffalo Valley, and UtterTech. And joining us right now is Wisconsin Ag Secretary Designee Brad Pfaff, and having a chance to talk with Brad here at Expo. We're going to talk a little bit about the stories that have come out since Secretary Perdue's visit about the dairy industry being big dairy or a small dairy and that sort of thing. And Brad, again, thank you for joining us. Well, there's been a lot of talk that the secretary basically said, well, if you don't go big, you better go home. You've had a chance to at least hear the comments. I did play the questions in the comments again. Do you really think that that's what the secretary meant?
Well, I will let the Secretary's statements speak for themselves. I will say this. We in Wisconsin, we are size neutral when it comes to agriculture, and particularly when it comes to dairy. We firmly believe that regardless of your size and scale, you have an opportunity to compete and hopefully succeed in our state's dairy industry. Why do I say that? Because quite frankly, our dairy farmers are some of the hardest working, most resilient individuals that I know. Not only that, we have a supply chain, quite frankly, that's second to none. We can produce high quality milk in our dairy barns in Durand and in Pepin County, and quite frankly, by the end of the day, that milk can be made into some of the highest quality cheese, specialty cheese, and it can be sold in this country and around the world. So I want to do more here in the state of Wisconsin to be able to provide more profitable opportunities for our dairy farmers, regardless of their size or scale. I do appreciate the Secretary coming to Wisconsin, listening to the concerns and thoughts that our farmers have. And, of course, dairy is an important part of what we've got here.
Do you really think, though, even from the Secretary's comments, that there are some that have said that there's no room for small dairy at USDA? Do you really get that impression?
Well, I do strongly believe, obviously, that there is room for small dairies as well as medium and large-scale dairies, not just at USDA, but throughout the country. I here in the state of Wisconsin, and that's why I'm very happy that the Secretary came here and saw firsthand the uniqueness of this state. I really do believe in the uniqueness of Wisconsin. I like to call it the Wisconsin way. We are not California, we are not Idaho, and we're not Arizona, but we're also not Vermont, and we're not New England. We are Wisconsin, and our dairy farms vary in size and scale, and quite frankly, it's based upon the economic situation as well as the labor force and also the landscape that's taking place in this given area in which people are farming. What's so unique about Wisconsin, unlike Idaho or New Mexico or California, is the fact that we have dairies all over our state, not just in a pocket or a corner of our state, but all over our state. So, we can talk about big, small, medium size, and I think that's an important conversation, but I think what we really need to focus on the fact is, what do those farmers need in order to continue to compete and succeed out there? I think all of us recognize the fact that the last 5 years have been very, very difficult when it comes to milk prices in this country, and quite frankly, it doesn't discriminate. This price doesn't. It doesn't matter if you're big or you're small or you're medium size. When milk's $14 or $15 a hundredweight, that's tough. Doesn't matter how many cows that you're milking. So we've got to be able to figure this out on the federal level. But at the state level here, I really want to be able to work in partnership more with our farmers and our co-ops and, quite frankly, our cheese makers in order to figure out how to capture more value along that supply chain. We have to be able to do that. If we continue to just have conversations of what's going to happen at the federal level, we've heard those stories in the past. Now is the opportunity for us here in Wisconsin to figure out what can we do. And that's why I'm excited to be here at World Dairy Expo, because when you walk around, you meet and you listen to dairy farmers that, quite frankly, are hungry and energetic and willing to get up every single day and give it their very best. And to me, that's awesome.
I know, Brad, that Governor Evers was here yesterday, and there have been some AP stories that the governor was like, the secretary's comments are, I want to say, he felt they were insulting towards Wisconsin dairy farmers. Again, after you were at the town hall, you heard the comments that he made. Do you really think those were insulting?
Well, I do think it's important to recognize the fact that this is Wisconsin, and when any time you come to Wisconsin or you want to share your thoughts and your ideas about what would be best for Wisconsin agriculture, particularly Wisconsin dairy, I think it's important that we always recognize the fact that there is a lot of different ears that are listening, and there's a lot of different dairy interest in this given state, and I think we need to recognize the fact that there is no one size fits all. All of us understand economics. We've either had courses in college or in high school, or quite frankly, we live the day-to-day life. We understand economies of scale. We don't need to be told what happens on the economies of scale. We recognize that. I think what our farmers are looking for right now is, hey, we understand what's happening in this marketplace right now. What are your thoughts and what are your ideas to help us succeed? And I will let the governor's comments stand for themselves, and I will let Secretary Perdue's comments stand for themselves. I will just say, as a Western Wisconsin farm boy myself, I think I know farmers. I feel that I can relate with farmers pretty well, and I know what they want. They want an opportunity to get up every morning. They want to be able to get out there on their land. They want to be able to get out there with their cattle. They just want to be able to have the opportunity to compete and succeed. They want a fair price, without a doubt, but at the same time, they just want an opportunity, and I think that's what we need to focus on. And if we do that, I think we're all going to be better off.
Finally, Brad, the Joint Finance Committee did approve the money for expanding the dairy innovation centers. So the UW system is going to be starting to expand some of their staff and that sort of thing. How long do you think it's going to take to really get these things up and running?
Well, I think it's, quite frankly, the sooner the better. I do greatly appreciate the work of the legislature as well as Governor Evers for signing that into law. The Dairy Innovation Hub is something that is extremely important to our state, and I'll tell you why it's important to our state. Dairy and agriculture are the economic engines of this state. This is an amazing infrastructure that we have, but we have to continue to invest in that infrastructure, and then investing in that infrastructure is more than just investing in, a part of it. We have to invest in the whole supply chain, and that means that we need to be able to continue to invest in our farmers and provide them with the tools. Nobody's going to tell a farmer what size or what scale their operation should be in order to succeed. That's not Wisconsin. But what our farmers want is our farmers want to be able to have access to the information, the knowledge, the science, the technology. If you give them that opportunity, they're going to be able to compete out there. May it be 200 cows, may it be 1,000 cows, or quite frankly, may it be 50 or 75 cows. I have confidence in that, and that's what that Dairy Innovation Hub is all about. It literally is a full circle where it looks at what's happening as far as the innovation, as far as productivity, what's happening on the ground with water and soil conservation, what better we can do in order to make sure that we're providing high-quality, valuable products that tomorrow's consumers, not yesterday's consumers, and not just today's consumers, but what tomorrow's consumers want. That's all very important because, again, Brian, this is the Wisconsin way. This is not an East Coast, West Coast way of dairy farming, and this, if we're going to continue to rely upon what the federal government may or may not do when it comes to some national policies, I think we've all been there and we've heard that in the past. I am very excited that the governor and the legislature come together working with the University of Wisconsin in order to put together this dairy hub. We at the Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection, we've got work to do, and we're going to continue to do that work in order to make sure that we move forward.
That is Wisconsin Agriculture Secretary Designee Brad Paff. We're at World Dairy Expo. I'm Brian Winnikins for WRDN.